Hi folks, this is Play Dog 808 with NDA Gaming, doing a game review for MXGP, the official motocross video game. Now this is probably the toughest review I've ever done. I've sat and gone back and forth and trying to figure out a way to explain that I am doing a review on this game and I'm not comparing it to MXS, I'm not comparing it to MVA, and this is what I feel about this game and what it offers and what the playability is like and what basically what was this game designed to do, and can I have fun playing it? I'm a big fan of MXS, and I'm also a big fan of MVA, but both of those franchises or both of those titles have a hardcore audience where they will argue with you which game is better. Um, I don't see gaming that way. I love MXS for what it is. It's a simulator. It's probably one of the best simulators I've ever played. MVA is one of the strongest motocross franchises ever, and there's nothing that can even compare to the amount of games that they put out that's been dedicated to the sport. MXGP is the second of two, or milestone, I should say. It only put out 2 games, and this is their second one. And I think they did a fantastic job going from the game Mud to MXGP. And yeah, like I said, it's a really tough one to do because I know I'm not going to please every critic out there. I'm not going to please. Uh, Everybody's going to have their opinion on it. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at the game for what it is, what it offers, and am I having fun with it. Anyway, I'm going to try to get started with this. Here we go. The first thing I want to talk about is player immersion, or customization and stuff like that. You can put your name on your jersey. You can put your name or your number on your bike and your jersey. You have basically 3 different names, and they'll show up at different times. You'll have your first name, your last name, and a nickname. Nickname will go on the jersey. Your last name will show up a lot in game for the career and stuff like that. And the first name will be part of that package as you play throughout the game. Beyond that, you have your helmet, and you can control the colorway of the text that's on your jersey and the color of your boots. Everything else is kind of done for you. Now, I don't see a problem with this. I actually think it's kind of cool that you're actually targeting certain teams that you want to join, either whether it's be for the bike or whether it be for the sponsors or whatever the case may be. Once you choose a team or once you've unlocked a team that you want to be a part of, then those all the sponsorships and all the gear and everything else kind of are all encompassed into that team. So if you were to join Monster Energy, you can't rock a rock star jersey. You know what I mean? Like it. You go with the team, and then that's what sponsorships and bikes and stuff that you'll receive. The graphical quality of the game is incredible. It looks really good. I don't have any qualms with that at all. It runs great on my machine. I have an older graphics card, an older machine, but it runs great on my machine. It also runs on my laptop. I do have to dial down the graphics quite a bit, but it does run on my laptop well, and I haven't had any problems as far as that's concerned. The track layouts and everything are far superior than the old game Mud. I don't know what they were doing in Mud. I remember my biggest, well, what I thought was a joke was how they had Glen Helen inside the game, but it looked nothing like it. Not even the environment was similar to Glen Helen. Every track that was in the game seemed to be this fantasy based of motocross, and it just wasn't realistic by any means. They really took it to the next level, and they designed the tracks as they are. Now, some of the tracks, the flow and stuff like that, could be arguable. I know there's some tracks that I flow like crazy and have I'm super fast on those tracks, and then there's other tracks where I feel like I kept getting choked up, just before every turn, or there's the rhythm would start off rough, so it was really hard to keep it going, and yeah, but that's it. They look like real tracks now. They play like real tracks, and the terrain deformation is fantastic. Overall, I'm really happy with the graphical quality and the look and the presentation of the game. The graphical interface is clean and easy to navigate. Definitely a good presentation. Moving on to the sound, well, with motocross, I've just learned that it's not going to happen. At least not yet. That somebody has to really sit down and design a dyno spectrum of the game and then create that link with how the physics work in the game, because there's too many variables and the sound of a motocross bike uh, to really place it into an unrealistic world. Or even with MX Simulator, if you listen to the sounds, they're very close. They're where they need to be as far as the 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 acceleration and deceleration and the abrupt stops and stuff like that. But the overall sound is just terrible, and that's the same for this game too. The overall sound is pretty terrible. It's one of those things like I'm not really happy with any motocross game sound. So, uh, yeah, no, the sound is terrible, but it's something that you either get used to it or mute it. It's up to you. Controls. Well, the controls have definitely changed a lot since Mud. You got to keep in mind too, this is their second game, so uh, the fact that they made these big changes, these big leaps in what they're doing with the game, I really do appreciate it. Now it doesn't play like MVA. MVA Reflex started that whole dual stick, one for the bike, one for the rider. Um, it doesn't play like that. So if you think you're gonna just run in as an MVA player and then slap the sticks to the side and control it like how you would in MVA, you will not. It is different. It's a lot different from Mud. Mud was just a single stick. It all works well. You just got to learn how that game, how it functions in that game. You have to kind of deprogram your head from playing MVA into this one. But yeah, it does work. You push forward and you lean, with your right stick, or you push forward with your right stick for the rider, and you lean left and right for your bike, and you'll see the subtle differences in the changes that can be made as far as acceleration, grip, and slip. So yeah, it's something you have to experiment with. It is different, so you have to relearn how to ride the bike in the game. And yeah, I'm very satisfied with it. I have no problems with it whatsoever. The only problem I do have is when it comes to shifting, because you have so much emphasis on coming into a turn and coming out of a turn when it comes to having your thumbs on both analog sticks. Trying to shift with that setup is really tough, because you have to brake, you have to accelerate, you have to shift up or down, and then you have your left and right analog stick. For some reason, I just couldn't find a setup that I was comfortable with. The auto shifting works just fine. I haven't had a problem with that. The low end feels beefy, so I haven't had to be stuck in first gear to get that low end grip. The game does fine for the auto shifting, so yeah, really no complaints there. The controls are great, unless you try to do shifting, and that can be a little odd. Moving on to the game's physics. Now the ground physics is amazing. The collision detection is amazing. Air physics, they're terrible. I can try to mask it up as much as I want, and make it sound as pretty as I possibly can, but the air physics are terrible compared to what's out there. Now, for itself, internally, if I compare this to Mud, their last game, is definitely a step forward. It wasn't a great step like the rest of the game. It seemed like the game totally transformed outside of the air physics, like the way the tracks look, the way the ground physics work, the collision detection, everything seemed to transform 10 times fold from their last game, except for the air physics. Now, they did remove that silly ass button where you mash it and you do a scrub, but it's essentially the same thing as moving the left and right analog sticks left or right on the face of a jump. You still get that animation when it comes over the top of the jump. You really don't have the control over it. Now, with that said, keep in mind this is only their second game. I am amazed by the ground physics and the collision detection. The collision detection allows you to really get aggressive in the game without throwing your bike away. Now there's been times where that didn't work out for me, but then again, you're trying to be aggressive, so yeah, you're gonna have ups and downs with that. But overall, I'm able to ride side by side, hit the face of a jump, like damn near banging bars the whole way, and it's never disrupted play, and it felt right. It didn't feel weird and awkward and bump me all over the place. Like, it felt good and it felt right. So kudos for them as far as getting the ground physics and the collision detection nailed. They have a lot of work in the air physics department, but like I said, this is only their second game. I can only imagine what the third one is going to be like, because they polished everything else that I had a complaint with in Mud, it just down to the air physics. So that if that's all they have left to work on, and they put as much emphasis on that one department as they did everything else, I can only imagine how awesome the third iteration of this game is going to be. The AI, well, the AI is fun. Easy is really easy to beat. Realistic, if you can get yourself out front, it's really easy to beat. If you make a lot of mistakes in the beginning of a race, you will have to fight your way back up to the top. It's not so hard that, let's say, last lap down, you got 3 positions to make up. You can still do it if you ride aggressive enough. Um, but yeah, for the most part, I think the AI has done well. I don't know. I don't really have any complaints. I know some people were saying, "Oh, it's too easy," but I think that's your average "I'm the best at gaming" attitude. So I'm gonna say that the AI is pretty damn awesome for what it is. And yeah, as far as any other MX game I've played, the AI, the ground physics, and the collision detection is the best by far. Overall, I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10. I think it's done very well. The graphics are nice and clean and a lot of colors, and uh, it just looks really good. The rider proportion between rider and bike looks really good. The overall ground physics and collision detection are excellent. I haven't played any motocross game that can touch the ground and or collision detection as well as this game has been done. It does have a few issues like the sound and the sound goes for all of them, but definitely the air physics needs some attention. But for the most part, this game offers quite a bit for the money when it comes to the career mode, the multiplayer, the Grand Prix, the Championship Series, time attack on the leaderboards, customizing your character as far as name and number goes, and having the licenses for all the bikes and the sponsors and stuff, giving a very realistic feel to the game as far as that's concerned. Yeah, no, definitely worth a very well-earned 7 out of 10. Definitely tip my hat to their progress from Mud. They are leaps and bounds over that game, and I'm looking forward to the next generation of this game. And hopefully they'll be able to spend the time on the air physics and give us the whips and stuff that we all crave. Anyway, this has been Ploy Dog 808 with NDA Gaming. Be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thanks for watching, guys.